It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? I hope you had a great weekend. It is time for the Geno Jones Show. I come to you live Monday through Friday, unless I tell you otherwise. So my normal days, broadcast days, the show comes on Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So up in New York, up in D.C., up in Philly, down in Miami. We're going to talk about Miami, Miami-Dade, the Miami-Dade police in a minute. Maybe in Atlanta, 6:30. Chicago, 5:30 right now. Up in Milwaukee, Minneapolis, down in Memphis, Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas. How about them Cowboys? No, I'm not a Cowboy fan, not at all. But I know they figure that they're going to go 17-0 and win the Super Bowl because you know how Cowboy fans are. The most delusional, delirious sports fans in the history of sports. I digress. But I love y'all anyway, Cowboy fans. Because I can depend on you to be Cowboy fans. I digress. New Orleans. Well, the Saints fans are like, man, the Saints put 47 points up on the board? Beat the brakes off the Carolina Panthers. Wow. 5:30 down in New Orleans. Live in Los Angeles, 3:30 p.m. right about now, maybe about, 3:31. The Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland, Alameda County, Vallejo, that whole area. San Jose, where the 49ers and the Jets are playing Monday Night Football. Seattle, Washington, the Seahawks had a big win. Portland, Oregon, where my number one, my firstborn daughter, Lauren Shiana Hill Vaughn, and my son-in-law in Brooklyn, the Bulldog. Both of my daughters are number one, but got number one in age, firstborn. And then Allie Jones, the baby girl. Please tell everybody to subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. Subscribe, share, screen grab, rip some of the video, chop up about 30 seconds, 60 seconds, screen grab it, 90 seconds, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 5 minutes, the whole damn show. Make it go viral on any and all of your social media platforms. You got my permission. Binge watch, and please, as the late godfather of soul would say, James Brown, please leave your comments in the comment section for this episode and every episode, all my back episodes with my great celebrity guests, so many great celebrity guests from Lettucey and Ronald Isley, Mr. Big, a.k.a. and Kenny Lattimore and Howard Hewitt, and new R&B superstar October London, my man, Southern Soul superstar Roy Chip Anthony, old school is Lenny Williams, my man, Howard Hewitt, my man, Larry Dotson, former lead singer for the Barcades, got his solo thing going, so many other great artists. I can't think of everybody right now. My man Melvin Riley from Ready for the World, Jay King from back in the day, the Timex Social Club and Club Nouveau. A lot of great guests have been on this show. Oh my goodness. So let's kick off the show because we got a lot to cover today in this monologue. So since we were talking about football, it was a wild weekend in the NFL. First of all, so the NFL, they've announced who is going to be the halftime performer for this year's Super Bowl. It's going to be February 9th in New Orleans. The Big Easy in the Superdome. I don't know who got the naming rights. I don't know what the hell. It's just the Superdome. The big-ass Superdome in New Orleans. I think they've had 11 Super Bowls in New Orleans, including the one where the Chicago Bears won in 1986. The 85 Chicago Bears won in late January of 86, where they beat the brakes off the Patriots back in the day. I digress. But Kendrick Lamar, they not like us. They not like us. They not like us. Is going to be the Super Bowl halftime performer. So the internet, as they were saying in the hood, the internet is on fire. Now let me just say this. First of all, okay, let's establish something. Let's just keep it 1,000. So a couple years back, really, this is when all the controversy, really around 2020, was really when it kind of hit, folks were kneeling, the whole situation with Colin Kaepernick. And the NFL, right around that time, brought in Jay-Z to help them pick entertainment for the Super Bowl. That's really Jay-Z's job with the NFL. All right? So they had, when they were in L.A., they had Snoop and Dre, and then they had Kendrick was a part of that show. 50 Cent was a part of the show. Eminem and Mary J. Blige. All right, now they had Usher in Vegas. Now this year in New Orleans, who is one of the biggest stars in music, one of the biggest rappers ever in the game, Lil Wayne, a native of New Orleans. So there's a lot of folks saying, like, come on, damn, Jay, how you gonna disrespect Lil Wayne? Like, Lil Wayne, not like some little poop, but nobody. We talking about Lil Wayne in New Orleans. How could you not? And there's no shade to Kendrick, but one thing I haven't seen people discuss, Kendrick, even though it wasn't his own show, he was part of the show with Dre and Snoop and the whole West Coast vibe. But wow, it does look kind of, man, like Lil Wayne. Like I said, we talking about Lil Wayne. Say what you want to say about Lil Wayne, but I mean, look, the catalog don't lie. All right, listen, Wayne is one of the greatest rappers ever. Got to put him. I'm not ranking him. I'm not saying top 2, top 3, but listen, for this generation, for this era, especially from the 2000s, and really all the 2000s and 2010s. Come on, Lil Wayne, you gotta put him as definitely the 2000 and 2010s, one of the biggest. Just look at the sales. Just Google Billboard. All right, or just Google Lil Wayne sales in the 2000s. So it looks kind of shady to a lot of folks, and then there's been a lot of talk on the internet, whatever backstory. Drake is cool. I mean, Lil Wayne put Drake on, and listen, Jay, look, you my dude, but that was kind of, if I'm Wayne, I'm like, okay, bet. That's okay, bet. Maybe Wayne, you should do like a big show. Okay, the Superdome is gonna be booked. Maybe you should do a show. I don't know, see who's doing a show. See if the Superdome is booked. So Wayne, check this out. See if the Superdome is booked Saturday. The NFL probably kind of got it locked up. But if you can get it, money talks. And you and your crew got the money. Come on, your father, your dad, not like your biological Birdman. Come on, y'all got the loot. I would put on my own show. I would rent the Superdome. I would promote my own show at the Superdome. You can get some people to sponsor it for you and get some of their money because you're Lil Wayne. Just do like the whole. I would do like the whole 504. Just the whole see if you get P to get on there, Master P, his whole crew, the whole Hot Boys, Juvenile, Manny Fresh. I would be like, New Orleans, we gonna stand up. We gonna do our own damn show. The Super Bowl Eve. And if you could get the Superdome, because I'm trying to think that's like the biggest venue in the city. Because you got the stadium where the basketball team plays. Now they may even have a game that day. I don't know. That Saturday. Not the Hornets. The Pelicans. I had to think about because they were they were like the Hornets for a minute. Then they went back to Charlotte where they were originally. So anyway, so for a minute when Chris Paul was young, it was like the New Orleans Hornets, and then way back in the day it was the New Orleans Jazz. That's way back in like the mid-late 70s. I digress. Just a thought, Wayne. That was on the house. I'd get the whole New Orleans stand up, everybody. We just do a whole 504 show, rent the Superdome or the smoothie, what's it called? The smoothie something center, Smoothie King. I think that's the arena where they play the basketball game. I'd shut it. I would disrupt that Saturday night, that Super Bowl Eve. Oh, I swear to God, am I petty? Is that petty? Or that's just, I don't know, it's just me. Maybe that's just the Taurus in me. I'm just thinking, Wayne, that's all. And it's no shade to Kendrick. I mean, look, Kendrick is killing the game now. He is definitely, Snoop and Dre said it. He's the king of L.A. Right, but the Super Bowl ain't in L.A. And some folks say, well, be glad Jay is in there, because if Jay-Z wasn't booking the entertainers, it would be Taylor Swift. Trust me, if the NFL really wanted Taylor Swift, there's not shit that Jay-Z could say. But yes, sir, trust me. And that ain't no shade to Jay, but Jay is not an owner. All right? You got 31 old, significant of them are old, racist, wealthy, billionaire, old white dudes. Which I'm just happy that they even let Jay come on in there. And, you know, he's done pretty good with the entertainment, but, you know, I saw some folks on social media, you know, will be glad that Jay-Z is in there, because if it wasn't for Jay-Z, they'd have some white folks booking Taylor Swift. If they wanted Taylor Swift, if Taylor Swift wanted to perform, if Taylor Swift decides that she wants to do this year's Super Bowl halftime show, I guarantee you, they'll cut Kendrick Lamar a check and say, oh, something happened. They'll make up some bullshit. They'll like, listen, Kendrick, we gonna pay you for your trouble. This is the story. Read the script. You're gonna go along with it. All right, you want this money, and then we'll let you do next year. Trust me. Just about everybody got a price. And if the league, if the NFL, or if Taylor Swift really wanted to perform at this year's halftime show, the owners who's paying Jay-Z's salary, working for the NFL as a consultant or whatever the title is, they would have Taylor Swift performing. So let's not get it twisted. But look, I'm a Kendrick fan from Wasted, way back in the White Boy, Wasted, dun, 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 dun. That was that joint. That was the first, I was like, who's this brother? But I'm a fan of Kendrick. The brother's super, super talented. Poet, lyricist, heavy brother, thought-provoking lyrics, and all of that. But still, Lil Wayne, put some respect on his name. That's in his own city. Just come on. Jay, come on. Just imagine if somebody, if the Super Bowl was in the Meadowlands in New Jersey, and it's like, instead of Jay-Z, now we're going to bring Kendrick, somebody from the West Coast. Even though it is Kendrick, it ain't just somebody. Or say, now we're gonna go old school. We're not gonna do Jay. We're gonna do Snoop. And I love Snoop, but even Snoop would probably be like, no. Knowing Snoop would probably be like, no, I can't do Jay like that. I gotta put some respect on Jay-Z's name. I wouldn't. It's in New York. Y'all gonna have anybody do the halftime show? Have Jay-Z do it. Maybe him and Beyonce. How about that? That would be fire. That's just my take. I love to hear your comments. Jump in the comments section. As a matter of fact, if you're watching me live right now, please, what do you think? Do you think the NFL Jay-Z did Lil Wayne wrong? Did they do him dirty? Or you just happy? Or maybe you're a Kendrick Lamar fan. You don't like you don't like Lil Wayne. Or maybe you are a fan of Lil Wayne and Kendrick, and you just say, well, Kendrick's hit, they not about us. He is hot right now, so, you know, he should be the one, you know, hot now. He'll still be somewhat hot, but we talking about February. It's going to be a whole lot of hot music coming out between now and February 9th, but, still Kendrick is now elevated. He is now at the superstar. He's not just a rapper now. He is at the superstar level, part of the pop icon, America's, and really global pop icon and lexicon when it comes to music. So now Kendrick's name is up there when you say Jay-Z, Snoop, Dre, Eminem, 50 Cent, Lil Wayne, Drake. Whether you like him or not, he's still a huge star. And Kendrick. You got to put Kendrick's name in that same category in terms of not just rappers now, but just musical superstars, pop culture, definitely for our culture, but for pop culture in general, because pop culture always steals from black culture. We set the tempo. We decide who's really going to be the next pop culture icon. There are few exceptions, like Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is an exception. She really rose out of country music, and then she kind of went pop, and then the rest is history. So that's the deal. All right, so much for the NFL announcing Kendrick Lamar. It's going to be the halftime performer for this year's Super Bowl in February 9th. Now, since we're talking about the NFL, so it was a wild opening weekend, but the wildest thing happened in real time, and I'm watching ESPN and the NFL Network, and then I see a story, and I see this video down in Miami. So a brother named Tyreek Hill, if you're not a big fan of sports, so Tyreek Hill is one of the best players in the NFL. He is the best player on the Miami Dolphins. He is their star wide receiver. 3 hours before the game, he is pulling into the stadium, about a block from the stadium. So I see video of Tyreek Hill with his hands handcuffed behind his back, laying face down in the street next to his car. They got the dude laying in the street, face down, handcuffed, with his hands handcuffed behind him. And one of the officers when he's handcuffing him, he put his knee in his back. So you put your knee in his back. Why does that sound familiar? Thank God it wasn't on his neck, but you had it in his back, and then they put the handcuffs on him. They handcuff him behind they put his hands behind his back and handcuff him. And then they put him down on the ground, face down, laying down on the ground. Then they eventually snatch him up and then push him down again for allegedly a moving violation, allegedly speeding. Now, listen, I don't know what the speed limit is, a block from the stadium. I heard some talk that he was supposedly doing 10 miles over the speed limit. Even if he was doing 30, you handcuff him? He didn't have a weapon. There's no reports of him like cussing the officer out. Even if he did, it didn't justify. You take him out of the car and you put him face down on the ground in the street. And you put his hands behind his back and you handcuff him. Come on. Really? So there was a couple teammates. One of his teammates, a brother named Geno Smith, apparently, I guess, was just in front of Tyreek Hill. Then a brother, I got to shout this brother out, a brother named Calais Campbell, been a veteran in the NFL, big dude, gentle giant. He's like literally 6'9", 300 plus pounds. But, muscle, solid. So Calais Campbell pulls up. First of all, so according to Calais Campbell, one of Tyreek Hill's teammates, Geno Smith, Tyreek Hill's teammate, who I guess was just in front of Tyreek, and he saw this jump off with the Miami-Dade police officers, I guess Miami-Dade County police officers or sheriff's deputies or whatever, law enforcement. And according to Calais Campbell, Tyreek Hill was told his first teammate, Geno Smith, hey man, don't leave me. Don't leave me out here. Think about that. He was a brother, one of the maybe I could make an argument, the fastest player in the NFL, fast, strong, a superstar in the NFL, at home. This was not a road game. He's at home. 1 block from the stadium, 3 hours before the game. You would think that the Miami-Dade police would recognize Tyreek Hill recognized his car. Maybe not. Okay, maybe they were new in the detail. Maybe they didn't know. But really? What was that all about? And apparently, according to Calais Campbell, Tyreek Hill's teammate, it was only one officer that was really belligerent and hostile and agitated and just arrogant. Because Calais gets out the car. Now, this is important for all young people, especially young brothers and sisters, young black men and black women. Calais Campbell, because first of all, he knows he's 6'9", 300 pounds, plus 320, 330, whatever. So, especially that one punk ass cop that was just on some BS. Calais says, but to let all the officers know, officers, his hands, both hands, up in the air, open palms. Officer, I'm not a threat. This is my friend. This is my teammate. I just want to make sure he's okay. So the belligerent cop, the MAGA cop, and I'm calling him out a MAGA cop because that's that MAGA energy, tells Calais Campbell, tells him to get back, or you'll be arrested. So Calais says, all right, you tell me where I can stand, I'll move back, but I am not leaving the scene. That is my friend and my teammate, and I want to make sure he's okay. Well, and then the MAGA cop says, we'll tow your car. Calais says, you can tow the car. If you want to, tow the car, but I am not leaving the scene. You told me this is where I can stand. You said, move back. This is where I can stand. I'm not leaving. I am not leaving the scene until I know my teammate is okay. And I cannot tell you, please, if anybody knows Calais Campbell, please screen grab, rip this part of the video, rip this part of my show, and please send it to him. Brother Calais, thank you, man. Thank you for being a role model, you and your teammate, Geno Smith. Because you all could have saved his life. Because this MAGA cop and this MAGA energy that's out here that wants civil wars and race wars and wants to do stuff to black and brown people and women and the LGBTQ community and trans folks and those who don't worship the MAGA white nationalist cult and the cult leader, Orange Hitler, Donald Trump. Absolutely. Well, Geno, how do you know that the cop was MAGA? The energy. I've been living long enough. I've been on this planet for virtually 6 decades. I know. I can hear a scenario and know the kind of energy that this person brought to the job, because it wasn't all the police officers. It was one, according to Tyreek Hill and according to his teammate, Big Calais Campbell. Calais said it was just one that was really on this hostile, had this hostile, arrogant energy. That's the epitome of that MAGA energy. Racist, sexist, misogynistic, arrogant, entitled, hostile, evil, demonic, all of that, all them damn adjectives. So shout out, thank God it got de-escalated. So all three, apparently, I think Tyreek Hill initially called the team. So every NFL team has team security. And a lot of times the security, people who run the security are usually some type of off-duty law enforcement. In a lot of cases, like the NBA, they have like a lot of like off-duty or retired FBI people in the FBI, federal law enforcement, sometimes military, retired military. So when the team security finally came out, the situation got diffused. They released Tyreek Hill, they released Calais Campbell, and they got a chance to play in the game, and the Dolphins wound up winning the game. And Tyreek caught an 80-yard touchdown pass, and then when he did like a little routine in the end zone where he put his hands behind his back like the cops did him, and his teammate walked up behind him like they were arresting him. So, but it was traumatic for Tyreek, and Calais said it. But just to think for Tyreek in that moment, he didn't know what was going to happen. Tyreek Hill, NFL superstar, probably contract worth close to over $100 million contract. None of that mattered because that cop didn't give a damn about that. And that you would have to go to that measure for supposedly a moving violation, even if you was speeding 10 miles over the speed limit, is the report that I got. Even if it was 30 miles over the speed, really? Because if he's a block from the stadium, he's a block from the entrance for the players. Yeah, I guess maybe he could have, that one block he may have been, but for it to escalate to that you've got him on the ground, lying face down in the street with his hands handcuffed behind his back, and then one officer with his knee in his back, and you can see video, he's kicking Tyrese. Or Tyreek, I should say, forgive me. I was watching a video with Tyrese. Tyreek Hill. Really? Yeah, they're still doing that. Let me just say this before I move on to my last piece of the monologue. For all the black men, I'm specifically talking to black men who are voting for Donald Trump for Orange Hitler, who are worshiping the cult of MAGA. Because really, this applies not to all of us. And don't think that your MAGA hat will save your ass. Or your, Negroes, blacks for Trumps. If you think that will save your black ass, you are sadly mistaken. Because if you really run into the wrong racist, white nationalist cop, and they are out there. Back in 2018, 2019, the FBI did a report. The director of the FBI, a congressional hearing, under oath, this congressional hearing said that the number one domestic terroristic threat is from white nationalists. White Christian nationalism is the biggest threat to the homeland here in America. Also, the FBI released a report around that time that said that you had KKK members, white nationalists, who were attempting to infiltrate the military, local, county, state, and federal law enforcement. So there's a significant number of MAGA-minded police officers. You got like 18,000 police departments in America, across America. So there is a significant number of MAGA mentality, MAGA-minded police officers on all these different forces, and some in the military. That's not my opinion. That's what the FBI director, Christopher Wray, said in a congressional hearing, a House of Representative hearing. Google it. FBI Director Christopher Wray says the biggest threat to domestic terrorism is from white nationalism. And that white nationalists are attempting to infiltrate the U.S. military and law enforcement at every level. That's what the FBI director said to Congress. So, don't take my word for it. Listen to the white man, Christopher Wray, that said it out of his own mouth. And many law enforcement, you had a significant number, not the majority, but a significant number. If you go to some of these white nationalist chat rooms and platforms, they brag about it. They brag about being in the military and being in law enforcement. They're not even trying to keep, they're not even trying to hide it and keep it a secret. So, for the black men, and this would apply for black women, but just, you see Tyreek Hill, look at the video of Tyreek Hill. Because if Donald Trump wins, if Orange Hitler, as he is referred to on this show, if Orange Hitler becomes dictator and gets back in the White House, because he's already said he is going to militarize local police. What does that mean? That's in Project 2025 that I have been talking about for about 14 or 15 months now. Militarizing local police in Project 2025 means that he will send in, he won't have to worry about Miami-Dade police or sheriffs. He will send in the Marines and those in the Army and the National Guard. He will send in the U.S. military to police, and he specifically focuses on cities like Chicago and Atlanta and Detroit and New York City and Newark and Los Angeles. And Miami would be on that list too, and Houston and Memphis and St. Louis and Detroit, Milwaukee. Cities with a significant African American population. So if you want to know what law enforcement will look like if Orange Hitler gets back in the White House, just press play. Play the video of Tyreek Hill. That's what it's going to look like. And that's if you're lucky. It will only look like that. It'll look like that or worse. We'll have more Walter Scotts and Philando Castillos and Laquan McDonald's and Michael Scotts and Eric Garners, Sandra Bland, all the black men and women murdered by police officers. Or we'll have another situation like we had in Minneapolis in 2020. George Floyd. He had a knee in his neck. Fortunately, Tyreek Hill only had a knee in his back. It may be a minute, 30 seconds to a minute, somewhere like that. Thank God it wasn't 9 minutes and 30 seconds. So for all you black men for Trump, if you don't think that your ass, that one of them MAGA-minded cops would put your ass on the ground because you were driving 10 minutes over the speed limit and was handcuffing you taking your hands and handcuffing you behind your back and making you lay face down in the street while they had their knee in your back. If you think a MAGA hat will save your black ass, you are sadly mistaken. So you've been warned. So you don't have to believe me. Just press play that video, Tyreek Hill, with the excessive force by the one specific officer with the Miami-Dade Police Department. All right, before I get out of here, the presidential debate. Hey, everybody, Rick Party. Shout out to one of the great voice actors in America, one of the great voice actors on the planet, Black Radio Hall of Fame, an icon, and he's my brother, brother by another mother. We are truly family, absolutely have been for years. I love him. Rick, you know I love you, brother. Thank you for tuning in, Rick Party. Speaking of great voices, rest in peace, sad news, just before I came on, actor James Earl Jones, one of the greatest voices and voice actors ever, one of the greatest actors of any time. He was the voice of Darth Vader from Star Wars, and he was the voice of Mufasa from The Lion King. He died today, James Earl Jones. Rest in peace. He was 93. So anyway, so shout out to Rick Party. Thank you for jumping in the conversation. Rick, I see you. I love you, and everybody else. Anybody else watching, please, if you're watching me live, jump in my chat room, say hi, let me know who you are and where you're watching from. The presidential debate between Vice President Kamala Harris, President-elect, soon to be, speak it into existence, name it and claim it, and Orange Hitler, a.k.a. Donald Jackass Trump. On this show, he's referred to affectionately as Orange Hitler. All right, but he said himself, he wants to be a dictator on day one. So I take the man, it's one of the few times that he's not lying. when his lips are moving, when he said he wants to be a dictator. That's one of the few times that he didn't lie. Anyway, the presidential debate is going to be on Tuesday. So Vice President Harris, look, you got like people who, if you've been in debates, you ran for president in 2020, so you've been on the debate stage. You don't need my advice, but I'm just going to offer this up to you because I've been in media for 30 years. I've been a radio personality. I've had #1 rated radio shows here for 20 years in Pittsburgh, in Chicago, in Los Angeles, in Memphis. So, and you know, I've been hosting this TV show for 4 years. In October, come October, I've done TV before. So I know a little bit about entertaining. That's what I'm an entertainer who gives commentary and uses my humor as a comedian, somebody that does stand up. I combine all those skills. And unfortunately, even with the presidential debate, Vice President Harris, and I'm sure you understand this because I know you have some very smart people around you, but I'm just going to share this with you, and I'm going to send this to your team, that this debates and your debate tomorrow is going to be as much about performance as it is policy. Because Orange Hitler is all performance and lies. That's it. Policy. He couldn't spell policy if you held it up with giant cue cards. He is all about performing for his cult with the lies, with like just the stream of diarrhea of lies that is going to come out of his mouth. Vice President Kamala Harris, talk to the American people. Look in the camera like I am looking to you. While he is being Donald J, the J stands for jackass Trump, let him be himself. He is going to self-implode anyway. The fact that he's got to stand there with a black woman is just, your presence is going to set him off. He can't help himself. The racism and the misogyny and the sexism is muscle memory. It is in his DNA. And they could sedate his ass with whatever. They could give his ass animal tranquilizer, and it still would not stop his racism and misogyny and sexism. But you, Vice President Harris, talk to the American people. Look in the camera and talk to us and tell us, continue to tell us the things that you are going to do to make all of our lives, even the MAGA cult members, the things that you are going to do to make their life better than their cult leader. The $50,000 tax credit to start a new small business. The $6,000 child tax credit for a newborn child. The $3,600 a year child tax credit for families. The more cancellation of student loan debt to make sure that people who have Obamacare don't lose it, and to expand health care. How you plan to make daycare affordable. How you plan to stop, because I've been telling people for going on at least a good 2 years, and you had the CEO of Kroger admit that right after the peak of COVID, they price gouged. They continued to price gouge because they could. So the reason that eggs and milk and a loaf of damn bread is $7, it's not a supply chain problem. It's not that it's not enough bakeries. It's because they were greedy, and a significant number of them wanted to hurt President Biden. So this whole inflation is what they call greedflation. And it was done intentionally because they could, and to hurt President Biden and to help Orange Hitler get back in office. The CEO of Kroger, one of the CEOs, had to admit it. He had to come in front of Congress and own up to it. He had to give up the ghost. So look in the camera like I am looking into the camera now, and tell the American people how you are going to continue. Tell young millennials and Gen Zs like my daughter that how are you going to make sure the price gouging in the rental market and homeowner trying to buy a home, because you had all these Wall Street companies that went in and bought up all this housing inventory, and then they would rent the houses out and bought these apartment buildings, but they would jack up the rent. They even had software where they designed an algorithm to basically where they would change the price of rent from day to day. I experienced that a couple years ago. So, the price, it might be because it's this price one day, but the rent might be, what? How the hell the price of rent fluctuate every day? What are we doing here? Now I know what that was all about. It was intentional. So all the price gouging, from home buying to renting a home to buying groceries, she's going to put a stop to that. So continue to talk about that. But remember, it is about performance. So understand that Chile is going to lie, and he's going to call you names and say, well, you didn't do anything for black folks, and you locked up all these black men. So you got to do what the moderators are not going to do. They're not going to do their job. So you got to do your job and their job, and you got to shut the lie down and take over the debate and say you are a lie and the truth isn't in you, man. As a matter of fact, what I did, not just for black men, but for men and women, especially nonviolent offenders, that as the DA of San Francisco District Attorney, Alameda County, then DA Kamala Harris created a program, and I think she carried it on when she became the Attorney General of the state of California, called Back on Track, to where once, if you are a non-violent offender, after you served your time, they still have this program to where they make sure when you get out that you have a job and housing lined up. That's what you did. Tell people that's what you did for those black men who, if they were a nonviolent offender, just like the white men and the white women and the black women and the Hispanic women and Hispanic men and Asian women and Asian men that committed a crime and were found guilty, but they weren't nonviolent offenders, that you had that program to help them get back on their feet. Tell that jackass that's what you got to tell the American people. But you got to look in the camera like I am looking at you right now. Talk that talk. I know you can, because you are a prosecutor. You've prosecuted and got convictions for all kind of drug lords. This little punk ass, scary ass Captain Bone Spurs, disrespecting the military. He's going to try to outtalk you. He might even try to intimidate you physically, but I know you won't be intimidated. Come on. One thing he's going to find out, he's going to have around and find out tomorrow night that, now I'm not saying this for every black woman, but Vice President Kamala Harris, soon to be President-elect Harris, she is one of these, don't F around and find out, because you are not going to intimidate her. Not at all. And you do not have the mental capacity or the intellect to try to deal with her, so you're going to F around and find out. So he's going to try to overwhelm her with lies and to out-talk her and talk over her, even when his mic is off. Ignore his ass. Talk to the American people. Fact check his ass. You can check his ass without looking at him. You might want to just to kind of really set him off. You might have to look over at him one time and point at his ignorant ass. But make sure you come right back. You're talking to the American people, and you're telling them everything. First of all, everything the Biden administration, President Biden, you have done, and the things that you plan to expand, and the things that you are going to do as president. Because when you were vice president, you didn't get to set the policy. You had to follow the policy and to support the policies of the president. That is the job of a vice president. As president, you get to set the policies. And you've been talking about them. Continue to tell the American people all the things, and there's so many more that I just mentioned. You're going to stop the price gouging when it comes to renting an apartment or renting a home or buying a home or buying a loaf of bread, buying milk or eggs, and to make sure that you can get that families can get affordable child care where you're not paying 40% of your damn monthly income just for child care or more. Some people, half of the money they make every month, they got to spend in child care. Are you kidding me? So talk to the American people. Vice President Kamala Harris, tell them what you're going to do. But understand this, that the moderators, they are not going to do their job. They are not going to moderate. They're not going to fact check Donald Trump. They're not going to call him on his lies and his bullshit. First of all, because every time his lips are moving, he's lying, unless he said he wants to be a dictator. And two, they're kind of afraid of him, but the most important, that their bosses want the chaos. I've said it before. These major corporate media outlets, they want the chaos. Because in their eyes, it makes great TV. It makes great video, great sound bites, and is great for business. Because unfortunately, we as humans, we tune in to see the car wreck. We want to see the car wreck. We want to see the explosion. We want to see just the violence. I know, we are a very complicated species, we humans. And these television networks know it. The chaos, it's like a moth to a flame. Humans are drawn and captivated with chaos. It's like watching a drama. And not just Americans, but specifically in America, America is addicted to chaos when they see it on their TV screen or maybe on their phone or tablet. The video is the hook, even more so than the audio. The chaos. The media, the corporate media wants the chaos. And the more chaos and the more violent and the more visual, the better for them, the better for their ratings. So the moderators are not going to stop him from doing jack. So you know how to check him. You've been a prosecutor, but you make sure that you stay focused on the American people, that you keep your eyes fixed on the camera like I'm looking at you in the camera right now. Talk to the American people. Let Trump be Trump. Because you really don't have to do, as a matter of fact, she should get under his skin. All Vice President Kamala Harris has to do to get under his skin is to show up. That's all she could just stand there and not say a damn thing. And just stand there and look beautiful and sophisticated and intelligent and not say a damn word. And his head would explode. Just being in her presence. So let him be let Trump be Trump. That's what they say, let Trump be Trump. That's what his advisors say. Well, you got to let Trump be Trump. Yeah, let him be the misogynistic, racist, sexist, homophobic, ignorant, white nationalist that he's been. Let him be himself. And let him truly show his ass and show to the globe, to the world, who he really is. Even if you have to fall back for a second, when he's just fall back. When this mic is on, don't worry. You don't have to worry. He will keep, I guarantee you. Watch tomorrow night. All right. Thank you, everybody. Once again, I want to thank you to my mother, my number one fan. Shout out to Rick Party. All right, Rick, I love you, brother. Let's talk soon. I got to get you. I want to get you on the show one day. I know. See, I have people who would love to be a guest, but they're like, man, G, your monologues are fire, man. I don't want to get in trouble. And I get it. I ain't trying to cause nobody any problems. I'm not messing with nobody's money. But we got to get you on the show, family. Back on the show, because I've had you on one time. All right, listen. Monday through Friday, you can see this show right here on the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So up in New York, or D.C., or up in Philly, down in New Orleans, I should say down in Atlanta, up and down in Miami, Orlando, 6:30. New Orleans, 5:30 p.m. Central Time. So Chicago, 5:30. Houston, Dallas, Memphis, Milwaukee, Minneapolis. Oh, now Detroit City, Eastern Time, 6:30 live in Los Angeles, or the Bay Area, West Coast, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, 3:30 p.m. And if you're chilling like Oprah out there in Maui, living large, 1:30 p.m. So tell everybody to subscribe. My goal is to get 1,000 new subscribers to support my media company, Geno Media, so I can get that big YouTube check. I want to get that big YouTube bag, that Club Shay Shay Shannon Sharp YouTube bag. So spread the word for me. All the influencers out there, reach out to me. I got some business for you. I like to do some business with you, talk with you. So if there are any major influencers out there, I know a lot of you guys have been watching the show. Please reach out to me, Geno Jones Show. I got a Gmail. Just send it to GenoJonesShow@gmail. Leave me a message right here. Please leave your comments. Leave your comments in the comments section for this and every episode right here on the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. Subscribe, share, screen grab, rip some of the video. I got some great, man, this monologue was fire. So there's a lot to chop up, screen grab, rip a lot of some of the monologue, rip a couple minutes, 60 seconds and 2 minutes of it and make it go viral on any and all of your social media platforms. Create a YouTube short right here. Subscribe, share, screen grab, like, binge watch those back episodes and leave your comments. Shout out to Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. He is the CEO of Designer Cuts. Check him out, man. Check out, he is a master barber's master barber. So he's a hair artiste. Check him out on IG, Instagram, Kel, B Cutting Up, KELBECUTTINUP. Allie Jones, the official wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check her and her Lexi Jones collection out. Fashion design superstar. Future superstar, is a fashion designer. LX.N like Nanette, C like Charlie, L like Lexi, underscore is that little dash behind the last L. So that's LX.NCL underscore on IG, on Instagram. And shout out to Bruce Gage, wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check out his Mario Uomo collection and Flyball collection. Just search on IG or Instagram, Mario Uomo. Now, Uomo is pronounced like with a W, but it's an Italian word. So Mario, M-A-R-I-O, Uomo is U like umbrella, O like Oprah, M like Mary, and O like umbrella. Mario Uomo, U-O-M-O. The next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central Time, Chicago, live in Los Angeles on the West Coast, 3:30 p.m. Please, once again, leave your comments in the comment section. Now go and share this episode. Copy and paste the link in an email or a text message. Share it on your page. Share it with everybody that follows you, all your friends, your fans, your followers. Share it. Tag it on their social media pages on every platform. I'll see you live Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. It's the pre-debate. The pre-debate show. I'll probably have to go over what I went over today with Vice President Kamala Harris, but I got access to her people, so they will get tonight's episode shortly. And make sure you all, I know the Vice President is busy with her debate prep, so chop it up for her so she doesn't have to sit and watch the whole thing. Chop it up into little bites, send it like 60 seconds, 2 minutes here, 60 seconds here, 90 seconds there. But I got something for her. I think she'll be interested in my perspective, in my take. Thank you for watching, everybody.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.